Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoy. The cat at the playground. It was a quiet morning. The stray, three-legged cat limped over to the playground behind the building, which was his usual haunt. A childcare center occupied the ground floor, and about 10 children between the ages of 2 to 5 were regularly out on the playground. The large orange and black cat enjoyed watching them, a pleasant break between meals, and he knew the children and their 2 caregivers. Sometimes he spotted a face and he didn't know. Like now, his early trauma of brutally losing a leg made him extra sensitive to changes in his surroundings, and he was aware that the person standing by the playground, holding a large, blue children's pram, was a stranger to the neighborhood. It was an old-fashioned pram, a cot with the hood pulled up, with large bicycle wheels. The stranger was wearing a baseball cap and a baggy coat, their face shadowed by the cap. Allison, one of the children's caregivers, went over to the stranger, exchanged a few words, looked down at the pram, smiled and cooed. The stranger took that as permission, pushed the pram over by the swings, and started pushing Emily, the girl on the swing. Emily glanced back and started pumping her little legs to make the swing go higher. The cat sauntered over to the large pram, parked by the swing, but it was too high for him to look into. The cat was becoming hungry and wondered whether his friend Maddie, who squatted around the area, was back from his morning forage. Maddie usually brought him nice food. The playground was losing interest. The other caregiver shouted something at Allison, who nodded back and gave a thumbs up. The caregiver left. Allison and the stranger with the pram were now the only adults on the playground. As quick as a blink, the stranger slid Emily off the swing and held the surprised child's face closely against their coat. Within a few seconds, the child was unconscious. The person placed her in the pram and started walking away quickly. The cat looked at Allison, who was behind the jungle gym, making sure 2 boys weren't pushing each other down. The cat launched himself at the stranger pushing the pram, landing square on their back, yowling and digging his 3 sets of claws in for all he was worth. The person lost their balance twisting around, letting loose their deadly grip on the pram. Allison yelled and started running over to them, intent on prying the cat loose from the back of their partner. The cat howled louder as Allison cuffed him and tried to pull him off, but didn't let go. Maddie and the other caregiver appeared, picking up speed as they grew closer. Maddie barreled into the pram, tipping it over, and the unconscious Emily rolled out. The pram was empty otherwise. Other people were drawing close. The cat let go, shook himself, and limped away unconcernedly, following his devoted Maddie. The end. Turn the page. Miss Elliot looked curiously at the boy seated at the table in adult history, a large volume open before him. His tablet was next to the book, his fingers busy on the screen. Every few minutes he would pause and turn a page of the book. He would come in every day after school and stay there till closing time. Children weren't supposed to stay there unattended. The library had evolved into after-school care for tweens, and the librarians knew until a child went missing there wasn't much they could do about it. This boy never went to the children's section, just sat at this table, turning pages and playing on his device, brushing his fair, almost white hair out of his eyes. Eventually she went up to him, breaking her strict librarian code to never disturb anybody reading. That's an impressive book you've got there. History of the Russian Empire, she remarked. The boy looked at her. Mommy will pick me up at 5, he said. I'm okay. Miss Elliot sat down next to him. Do you enjoy learning about the Russian Empire? Or is it for a school project? The boy turned to the empty chair on his other side, mumbling. Then he went back to his device. He swiped out of his running game and started typing. I'm turning pages for the ghost. He loves reading, but he can't turn pages himself, because he's a ghost. Miss Elliot tried to absorb the information. Then she looked at the empty chair, noticing how the book was angled towards it. She concentrated, staying still. As she focused, the air shimmered and thickened, assuming a human form seated on the chair. A human form avidly reading. Then she typed. Do you like turning pages for the ghost? The boy shrugged. He comes to my dreams if I don't. When we were away, I had nightmares every night. The thick air reading swirled and rustled, and the boy hastily turned the page. Miss Elliot typed. How can I help you? The boy shrugged again, brushing his hair. A text from Mom popped up. He turned to the empty chair. Mom's here early, he said. I've got to go, but this nice lady can see you. She'll turn the pages for you. He snatched his tablet, and without looking at Miss Elliot, rushed away. Miss Elliot hesitated. The air rustled, and an impatient growling hum rose. Hastily, she turned the page. The humming died down. That night, she had the most terrible nightmares about the library full of dead and dying people. The library was almost empty in the morning. Almost, but not quite. The Russian Empire book was out on the table, exactly where they had left it, and Miss Elliot knew the reader was waiting for her. The memories of the nightmares fresh, she obediently sat there where the fair-haired boy had sat, and turned the page. The air rustled with content. The boy never returned to the library again. The end. Lisa. Lisa joined the Zoom call for her next meeting. The client was late. She idly checked her email and calendar while waiting, noting she had a Zoom call with her bestie Bobby later that evening. That would be nice. She wondered whether she should invite others. She enjoyed seeing her friends and chatting, although it was becoming more and more difficult to hide the fact that she was dead. Her client was waiting in the Zoom lobby. Lisa let him in, and they spent a pleasant hour going through his finances. Lisa competently moving his funds around and explaining rates to him. The rest of the day passed in a much similar manner, as she hopped from client to client in cyberspace, making sure her own paperwork and reports were updated. At the end of the day, she logged off her workspace and hung out until it was time to see Bobby. One of the nice things about being dead was that she didn't have that deathly fatigue at the end of a long day on Zoom. It was annoying that she couldn't change out of the pretty blouse she had been wearing when she died, right at the end of another meeting just after her client had logged out a few weeks ago. If she had died a few seconds earlier, her client might have noticed that her financial advisor had died on the call. As it was, Lisa just sat on her expensive, ergonomic chair that she had waited months for, while her soul got sucked into cyberspace. Not knowing what else to do, she continued taking meetings, updating paperwork and doing her job, all online. She began chatting with her mom and her friends, virtually. After all, there had been hardly any meet space interactions anyway. Somehow, she forgot to mention she had died. Later on, she just didn't want to. She joined her personal chat room, where she was meeting Bobby. Bobby was trying to join, but her video and audio weren't working. Bobby texted, "Just a min, this thing wants to update, ugh." Lisa sighed. So, like Bobby, to let updates happen while people were waiting, she could wait though. It wasn't as if she had anything else to do. Another nice thing about being dead, always so much time. Bobby's laptop finally finished updating. Impatiently, she clicked no and next in response to the endless questions to learn about the newest updates and features, and finally clicked on the meeting link where she knew Lisa would be waiting impatiently. "Hi, Lisa," she called out as the video tried to connect. "Sorry," Bobby screamed. The video image was not of smiling, live Lisa. Bobby was staring at a rotting corpse in Lisa's pretty blouse sitting on Lisa's fancy ergonomic chair, the high resolution showing creatures moving in that dreadful face, up and down the neck in detail. Bobby screamed and screamed. Online Lisa could hear the screams, loudly at first, but gradually growing fainter. The end. Thanks for taking the time to listen to one of my videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.